Good afternoon or good morning, as it may be for you. This is Michael Swack at the Carsey School of Public Policy, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar in which we will be talking about our academic programs and entertaining any questions you may have about our academic programs. Just a few housekeeping issues. If you have any questions, you can type those questions into the chat box, which is at the bottom of your screen. You can just click on the chat box and type in your question, and I'll get it, and we'll respond to those questions. I would expect the webinar will take about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how many questions there are. So thank you for joining us today. And you will have the opportunity, in addition to asking questions on our last slide, there will be contact information so that you can get back to us if you have any questions after the webinar. Again, my name is Michael Swack. I'm on the faculty here at the Carsey School. I also am the academic coordinator of our master's program in Community Development Policy and Practice, and also run our Center for Impact Finance. So let me start by telling you just a little bit about the Carsey School, because there are a lot of different pieces at the Carsey School. The Carsey School, in addition to our academic programs, which I'll be spending most of my time on today, we do a lot of research. We're involved in engagement activities with the community, both in New Hampshire and outside New Hampshire in the US and beyond. We're involved in a lot of research. We do research on a variety of topics, and we'll touch on some of those, certainly in public policy, community development, human services. We also are involved in outreach. We have a program, New Hampshire Listens, but also do outreach through meetings and conferences and convenings that we do across the country and outside the United States as well. And finally, the academic programs, which are hands-on programs, use a lot of peer learning and really emphasize the applied skills necessary to be effective in policy issues. We're going to focus on the academic programs over the next 15 minutes or so, and we have 5 academic programs. We have the Master's in Public Policy, as you see on your screen there. As part of that, there are joint degree programs, JD with the law school and in analytics. We have our Masters of Public Administration and the Masters in Community Development, Policy and Practice. And each one of these programs is unique in terms of its structure and its offerings. As you'll see, the Master in Community Development, Policy and Practice that I coordinate is a program that's essentially non-residential. It's just 3 weeks during 2 sequential summers. So you come for 3 weeks in the summer. The balance of the course is online, and you carry out a project in your community. And students come to this program from all over the United States and around the world. About 40% of our students are international. The Master's in Public Administration is a 16 to 36 months program. This is ideal for working professionals who are within commuting distance of Manchester, New Hampshire. The courses are offered in the evenings and online. So you need to be relatively close to Manchester, New Hampshire to take this program. And finally, our Master's in Public Policy, which has a more conventional residential format. You come and take courses full-time during the day here on campus, and you take those courses over a period of 14 to 16 months to earn your master's degree in public policy. And as you see on the screen here, you can also combine that with a JD degree or an MS in analytics. If you have questions as you go through this as well, there is a panel you can click on. You'll see that is a chat box. You can type your questions into that chat box, and I will answer any questions as they come up and also take time for questions at the end. So please feel free to type your questions into the chat box, and I will answer those questions during the course of the webinar. So those are our academic programs. Let me talk about each one briefly so you can understand the differences among the various programs. I'll start with our Master's in Public Policy. And obviously the focus is on policy making here. And the program really focuses on developing analytical skills in order to provide analysis for different social problems, different programs that are policy programs ranging from health policy issues to a range of policy issues. There are two tracks in the program: the strategy and communication track, and the policy analysis track. And you choose one of these tracks to specialize in, and the courses are held on the Durham campus during the daytime. So if you look here, you can see what it takes to complete the program. It's a 40 credit program. There are 5 core courses required, and you can see what those courses are below: the economics for public policy, the fundamentals of policy analysis, the quantitative analysis, the strategy course, and the capstone course that you take as well. The January term, the colloquium in Washington, D.C., is also an integral part of the program. It's 3 weeks in January. There's one prep week on campus where you prep for your visits. There's 1 week in D.C. where there are a variety of visits with policymakers, think tanks in Washington, D.C., public policy institutions, research institutions. And then there's 1 week after that to begin work on a policy paper that you work on during that term. Also, students are able to make connections with professionals working in the various public policy sectors and get a taste of what it's like to work for some of the organizations, think tanks, research institutes, organizations doing international work. So a wide range of organizations during this January term. Also, the program offers fellowships. In fact, all of our programs, as you'll see, offer some form of financial aid and fellowships. And typically the Carsey School offers fellowships working with the Carsey centers and research teams involved in community development, my own Center for Finance, for Community Development, Finance, and Impact Finance, social innovations programs, and other programmatic areas. So that's briefly about our public policy program. Our Master's in Public Administration. Again, this is a program, as I mentioned, classes are held in the evenings in Manchester. There's some additional electives in Durham, New Hampshire as well. So this is a program for public and nonprofit sector employees. And it's like an MBA program in a sense. Most people are probably familiar with public administration, but the mission is looking at government and government-related agencies involved in public administration. So people in this program generally are people who are working for government at the federal, state, and local level, nonprofit and non-governmental organizations, research institutes. We've had people in the program who work with private foundations, and also professional and trade associations. And again, skills range from nonprofit management, courses in statistics, financial management and budgeting, negotiations, communications, a range of courses designed for people working in public administration and related fields. Here's a chart you can look at that tells you a little bit about what the program looks like over 16, 21, or 36 months. It is a 36 credit program. How quickly you go through the program really depends on how many courses you want to be taking at any given time. So some people spread it out over a period of 3 years, or typically people will do it in less than 2 years and as little as 16 months. And so you can see how courses are arranged through the fall, January terms, spring and summer terms throughout the year. The third master's program we offer is Master's in Community Development. And the Master's in Community Development program, again, structurally somewhat different. This is one in which you are 3 weeks on campus in the summer for 2 consecutive summers, and then taking courses online. In addition, you do a project, which I'll get to in just a minute. But in this program, students come from all over the United States and from a number of developing countries. About 40% of the students in this program at any given time are international students. So in this program, you engage in a year-long capstone project in your home community. And the capstone project is part of a four-course sequence that accompanies the project that provides information and assistance in project design, project management, and project evaluation. Additionally, there are courses in policy and management, financial management, organizational management, and students learn skills and tools that are applied to community development, and you carry out a community development project in your community during the course of the program. At the end of the program, you give a presentation to your classmates and invited guests that tells about the progress you've made in the project over that course of time. This program is a 39 credit program with 11 core courses required. These are, you can see them in more detail on our webpage, and a series of electives that you take, and as I described, the capstone project accompanied by the four-course sequence. And this program, as you can see, can be completed in 14 months, 18 months, or 24 months. The key is how many electives you take in the sessions between the two summer sessions. So if you take one course per term in the fall and spring terms, which some students do, it would take 24 months. If you take two courses per term, a project and one other course at the same time, which you would take online, you can complete the program in as little as 14 months. Let me stop here and see if there are any questions. I have a question here on the on-campus summer term and what it looks like. Well, you'll be part of a cohort of students. You go through the program as part of a cohort. Most of the students start the program in the summer in person on campus. You meet the people on campus. This actually enhances the online learning because when you get online, you'll already know everybody who's in the program, and so the interaction is easier in that regard, and people generally feel more comfortable interacting with the people they've already met. The 3-week program, there's a daily schedule with courses in the morning and afternoon. There's a 2-hour break in the middle to meet with faculty, check in with work, prepare for the afternoon sessions. And the project series also begins in the summer, the sequence of 4 courses. This first summer is the time when you actually develop and design your initial project and choose a project of your choice in your home community. The chart here allows you to look at the various degrees, and let me point out a few differences here that you want to keep in mind. Again, one of the major differences is just the format. Our public policy program is an on-campus full-time program where you take courses during the day, during the week. The public administration program is an evening program. You take classes in the evening, year-round. Again, most of the classes are in Manchester, New Hampshire, with a few electives in Durham. The community development is a hybrid program. Again, people travel from longer distances because you're in residence for only 3 weeks or 2 consecutive summers, and then you carry out work in your project in your home community and through courses online. Again, you can see some of the highlights there in the public policy. The Washington, D.C. colloquium in the January term is a key part of that. If you look at the tuition, generally similar costs across the program, some small differences, again, between in-state and out-of-state tuitions, and some minor differences in terms of the cost of the programs. And again, career orientation. All 3 of the programs have a career orientation in which you are really looking at what do you do when you finish the program. And each of the programs have meetings and have assistance and thinking for those who are not sure about what their jobs will be, and help in thinking about that and in placements on those positions as well. Let me see if there are any other questions here. Yeah, I have a couple of questions. So you see the information here. I'll leave it on this slide for a minute while I pick up some additional questions. For further information, you can contact me, Michael Swack. You see my phone number and my email. And if you have questions programmatically, feel free to contact me and I'll answer those questions or put you in touch with the right person. You can also contact Sanjeev Sharma about admissions or Robin Husledge about general questions. You can jot down the phone numbers and the emails here. I do have several other questions here before we sign off, and I'll wait to see if I get others. Application deadlines. Most of the programs you can apply throughout the year. For a fall start, there's a July 1st deadline. For a spring start, a December 15th deadline. For a summer start, including the Master's in Community Development, which starts with the residential section in June of each year, a deadline of April 15th. There's also a question about financial aid. Financial aid is available through both federal financial aid and through sources we have here at the university. Depending on the program, there are fellowships available for Peace Corps volunteers, for people who work for NeighborWorks organizations. There is scholarships available and reduced tuition for them. Also for UNH employees, there are tuition benefits. And then there are specific scholarship opportunities that are specific to each of the programs that I described earlier. So depending on the program, you can always write to any of us to get more details about specific financial aid programs that we have. Couple other questions. Can we get a copy of the presentation? Yes, everyone who signed up today, we will send you a copy of the presentation and a link also to this recorded presentation where you can access the presentation you're listening to right now as well. Let me just check and see if there are any other questions here. No, I think we got all of the questions that that you typed in. So thank you for joining today. I appreciate it. We would be happy to answer any additional questions that you have. Again, all three programs are programs that are designed for adults and adult practitioners. And we hope you will consider these programs. Ask us any questions if you have them, and we will be back in touch with you.